Hello, everyone. Dr. Eames here. This time I'd like to talk to you about doing business in the global marketplace. Um, the importance of international business market activity can't be underestimated, particularly since we are a free market capitalist society. Over 90% of companies doing business globally believe that it is important that their employees have some sort of international experience. So it does help if you can speak a second language or you have some cultural familiarity beyond just where you live here in the US. Um, and today, what we see is that all of the world's major market economies, like ours, have very integrated supply chains, that the business arrangements we have internationally are very complex. Sometimes these take years and even decades to establish, to build trust and reliability and so forth. Um, to give you some perspective, in particular, the number of people in the world dictates a lot on how well you can do business. I mean, it's about potential customers. And not only is it about the population itself, the numbers, but whether or not they have any spending power, any buying power. So in the US, we've got about 325 million people, but there are 7.4 billion people in the world, and there are 7.4 potential billion customers out there for our businesses. So right now, US consumers are buying hundreds of billions of dollars in places, in goods from China and India, Brazil, and other places. And we have domestic companies that do operate in the international sphere, such as UPS, Starbucks, sports teams of all types in the NBA and Major League Baseball, and even the NFL has a growing international contingent now. Um, and when it comes to exporting, the US is the third largest exporting nation in the world. On the other hand, we are the world's largest importer. So when it comes to balance of payments, generally we're in arrears a little bit. It hasn't seemed to hurt us as a really powerful economy to be a little bit behind like that. So really, when we talk about doing business in the global marketplace, we're talking about importing and exporting. So importing has a pretty simple definition. It's simply buying products and or engaging with services from another country. And exporting is the opposite. It's selling your products or providing your service to another country. Um, Exporting provides a huge boost to the US economy and only improves our GDP. We make things and we sell them to customers, not just domestically, but to the entire world. This trade has a real impact on our economy and our society because it's estimated that for about every $1 billion that we export in goods and services, we're creating about 7,000 jobs. Um, so the world's largest exporting nations today are the United States and, believe it or not, Italy. Um, and Italy, of course, has some exports of certain types of cars, but they're also well known for their footwear, their shoe industry. Um, Top trading partners for the United States, even though we do a huge amount of trade with Canada and Mexico, our top trading partners really are India and Taiwan. Um, but when it comes to exporting, who are we sending our goods to? Well, we need help when we do that. And that is one of the things about international business. And so almost all countries have a variety of public agencies or governmental bodies that do help trade. And so it comes down to, in our country, we have EACs and ETCs. Well, EACs are known as Export Assistance Centers. And what they are agencies full of people with the right kind of knowledge that can give you advice on exporting. They can give you advice on where to finance your trade deals. And they are willing to work with small and medium-sized businesses that want to directly export goods or a service to somewhere else in the world. So there is some help out there. Um, and I believe it doesn't cost you anything for a great amount of their information and advice. And the ETC is an export trade company. And what these do are they help companies engage in indirect exporting by being sort of a clearinghouse where buyers and sellers can find each other, and match up goods and services with those who want them and those who can provide them. And ETCs will also help you deal with foreign customs offices, the documentation, obviously, that would be required to do any kind of international deal on goods, and converting things like your money and all of that. One thing to note about this is that competition is intense. And the US is really competing against some really aggressive international competitors. Okay, folks, that's all I really want to talk about this time. I'll talk to you again soon.